Irish Stout. That is what we are doing today. 4.1% brewed, or is it bottled? 1st to the 4th, 20. This is from Paul Holt. I always enjoy getting beer from Paul because he is a really good brewer. It just works. His stuff definitely works. Oh my god, smell that. So he has given me the recipe here, as he normally does. And I did remember to actually have it out here. So, sorry. There's the pour for the purists. He didn't show the pour. He didn't. He could be cheating. He could be doing anything. He didn't show the pour. There you are. That's the pour. Okay, so this is the bit of paper. Golden Promise, 3.14 kilos, flake barley, roasted barley, oat husks, Target hops. I've never used Target hops before. Would you believe? IBU 45, 4.1%, SO4 yeast. So it sounds like the grain bill of an Irish stout, that's for sure. So the aroma, well, let's have a look at it first. You don't need me to tell you what colour that is. There is a creamy kind of tan head on the top, which is not, which is just style, and it is very creamy looking. And we'll see if there's any lacing. I'm looking for lacing, but oh, it's not there. What's happened? Okay, aroma. It smells of, like, it has this kind of malty smell to it. It's not really kind of heavy roast, but it is quite quite a sweet kind of malt aroma with like a kind of almost like a fruity kind of note to it. It smells like a stout. Maybe a bit of light coffee. Not getting any chocolate or anything like that. Okay, I'm going in. Cheers, Paul. You can hear some tapping. That. There was like thunderstorms here about 10 minutes ago, 15 minutes ago. So obviously something's dripping from up there. And the kind of gutter just runs down into that corner, down to the bottom, so that's more than likely what it is. It's pretty annoying, isn't it? Now that I mentioned it. I didn't really notice it before. It's like water torture, isn't it? Or is it like a metronome? Very fast metronome. Ooh, 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 ooh. Let's not start raving, come on. Okay, sorry, I forgot I was doing a beer review there. Okay. It's super smooth. It's really super smooth. It's kind of got a light, when you take it in, it's kind of got a light kind of mouthfeel to it, but it is kind of smooth and kind of pillowy, you know. It's got that kind of fantastic stoutiness to it. It's got a little bit of roastiness to it, just a little bit. There's no kind of bitterness or kind of astringency or anything like that. It's just got this really fantastic flavour. Hint the sweetness as well too. Finished out at 1011. And IBU's for 45, but I mean now, after it's gone down, you're still kind of tasting the bitterness. But when you take it in, it doesn't taste bitter at all. That's cool. Really love that mouthfeel. Really easy to drink. So it's kind of, it feels like a light mouthfeel, but it's kind of really smooth. It's so smooth that it just slips down the back of your neck, back of your throat, just coating everything as it goes. Fantastic. Taste wise, maybe a little bit of chocolate in there, or not chocolate, a little bit of kind of coffee flavour, and then you get that kind of bitterness on the back end. So that is a really good beer. I would be very happy to have that on cake. We're talking about lacing. I like to put some dark crystal in stouts, and I find it gives that kind of same effect, that you can get this kind of little fruity almost sweetness to it, especially with the dark crystal, which kind of lifts it above just being, you know, a stout, a roasted stout basically. But that is absolutely superb. Absolutely superb. I don't really know what else to say about it, other than I want another one. Okay, I'm back already. Still going. Not as loud, so it's obviously the water is run out. Stick, 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 sticky, sticky, stick, stick. That's all I've got in my head. Anyone with small children will know exactly what that means. The rest of you are just going to have to guess. Okay. I'm using the same glass. I'm polluting, you know. You wouldn't see David Heath doing this. Drinking out of the same glass, really. To be fair, you wouldn't see him drinking out of a glass at all. Right. We go. So I should also say, Paul also said that he was using, what was it? He said something about a cart. Sorry. He's bottled off the keg using a new flow controller. So carbonation might be a bit off. Just buy the bloody proper beer gun. That's all you have to do. That one from Blackman. It's fantastic. Yes, it costs like £100 odd, but it works. Unless your name is Rusty. If you're watching this, Rusty, please tell me you've used that and you've sorted it out. But anyway, there we go. That looks very low carbonation indeed. Look, there's not really much going on there. That's kind of what it looked like when we were pouring it. I'm not an expert on Belgian beers, so I'm not really sure what kind of the carbonation level is to style. I'm not sure. I have tried brewing Belgian beers, or a Dubbel, a couple of times, and it's basically been a disaster every single time. So I haven't brewed one in a while. I would really like to brew one to match a beer I had when I was working in Holland, called, it was like Grimbergen, some kind of double they did, and it was on tap, and it was absolutely beautiful. And everybody else was on the lagers, and I was just having this like 6.5% double every time, and yeah, it didn't end well, basically. So I think I actually fell asleep during one of the presentations the next day. So classic banana. Anyway, it is beautiful red colour. As I said, not very much carbonation. That means not a very big cap on it, but there is something there. So you know, you can obviously tell that this is a big beer. There's a big body on it. 7%. So let's see what is in it. We've got Belgian Pilsner. We got Special B, Kerry Munich, and the hops are Hirschbrugger, Tettnang. We've got candy sugar in there, and we have 3944 Belgian wheat beer yeast. So, wow. Finishing gravity is 1006. So that's obviously how it's got the 7%. That's mad. From 1059 OG. Not particularly clear, bit murky, but a lovely colour though. The aroma is really kind of sweet. I could swear that is like the candy sugar I'm smelling off that, but obviously I don't know. But it is kind of sugary sweet. It's really nice. There is a little bit of like caramel or something quite delicious I'm getting off it as well. It's really quite pleasant for a 7% beer, which, you know, anything at 7 or above I am terrified of drinking. But that is quite a pleasant smell, and it makes you kind of makes me want to. It makes me think that this is going to be good. So I'm going to stop waffling, and that stout's just hitting me now. So let's go. It definitely tastes like a double, for sure. I think the low carbonation on it needs to be a bit more. I mean, it makes it kind of really, really smooth, which is not a bad thing necessarily, but I think we need a little bit more carbonation. But the taste wise, it's just this bloody explosion. It's like you take it in, there's a definite kind of licorice taste to it, but it's not kind of like, when I think of licorice I think of like a really dark stout, that type of thing, but this is more kind of like red licorice or something like that. You know, it's got this kind of sweet kind of licorice taste to it, rather than just pure darkness, pure evil basically, which is what licorice is. Come on. The work of Satan. There's a real kind of real nice taste on it. It's this kind of real, it reminds me of like a toffee apple or something like that. You know, you've got this kind of you bite into a toffee apple and then it's like stuck to your teeth, but you get that kind of taste. Do people still eat toffee apples? I don't even. God's sake, does Halloween even exist anymore? I don't know. What year is this? Yeah, it's strange, but it is like a toffee apple. I mean, you get the kind of real sweet toffee taste, but there's something else in there. So in the case of the toffee apple, it's like the apple that you get a bite off, and then it's like really kind of cleanses your mouth almost. There's something in that that's doing that too. That is a really good beer. If we just had this little bit more carbonation though, or maybe a little less alcohol, like 1% less. It's a very complex kind of taste. I mean, it's one of those beers that doubles that you can kind of go too far with them, and you can kind of, it can be really kind of clawing, you know, that kind of really intense maltiness, especially with a special B, which is like really intense malt. and you know it can it can sit perfectly, or it can like one tiny little step this way, and it's just the beer's it's not good. And I've had that, never perfected it, but that is still on the beam, so to speak. I think you're definitely onto something there, Paul, with that. A little bit more carbonation, maybe a little bit more sweetness in it, and that might completely transform that beer. It's good. It's definitely one to drink. I would like to know what you make of it. Yeah, I'm presuming you're drinking this off the keg, so it is like well carbonated. Let me know what you make of it, because I think that's really nice. I think I'm pretty drunk already though, and you know, I need to go back inside and pretend to be sober for Saturday night until the kids go to bed. So